Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading, and what a reading it is. I go away for a day, fetching a friend from the airport, settling her in, catching up, and all hell breaks loose. And no, the two aren't related, the two events, not at all. We always knew December was going to be a cracker of a month. Dirty December, dreadful December, deceptive December. And it's living up to its reputation because, of course, what has happened? Day one of the Wales' tour of America, well, visit to Boston. The Invictus Games trailer was released. Day two. And the Netflix docuseries trailer was released. All very deliberate, all very calculated, all very disruptive, all very negative, all very toxic. And we are going to be reading on that today, and I am using for this reading the Tarot of the Abyss because we have arrived there. We certainly energetically are in a very dark place, a very toxic place, and I have to remind you as I continue to shuffle the cards that we are in a tarot reading for entertainment purposes, and this is just all my opinion and all purely speculative. And so we're going to do a 5-card reading. We're going to just check in today because big things are happening, and I just want to check on everybody's energy. I want to see in this 5-card reading how Meghan is doing. How crazy is she? Jealous, toxic. She's just been in Indianapolis. She was caught leaving the event, heading for her private jet, giving a real mouthful to someone, looking quite disgruntled, quite bitter, quite sour, and in my opinion again. And so that event clearly didn't have queues outside, didn't have crowds waiting in the rain, and a bit of a non-starter, a damp squib, we could say. I want to know how Harry feels about all of this. Is he in or is he not in? On the timing on this, I want to know what impact it's going to have on the Waleses. They are ploughing ahead. There's, of course, the racist thing going on. Very unfortunate, possibly a setup. We're going to look at that in the next few days, unless something really wild happens in the interim. And I also want to know in this 5-card reading what impact this is going to have on the movers and shakers in the US, the powerful people, the people who are watching this and thinking, well, that's what Meghan Markle does, and possibly Prince Harry, when their noses are out of joint. They try and bring down the royal family, try and destroy them. It's all timed very deliberately, very maliciously, in my opinion. And how is this going to play with people who are important, like the Obamas, the Clintons, whoever else? Is this going to help Meghan's cause, or is it going to absolutely annihilate it? So that's our reading. And we have the Death card in reverse as our underlying energy of this 5-card reading with the Tarot of the Abyss. There she is. There is Death. And it's death and rebirth, it's transformation, it's change, it's endings, the Death card. It is in reverse. This could be the ending of all endings, what is going on right now. But it is also being stuck in a situation that needs to end. This really needs to end. Something needs to be done. It absolutely needs to be done. It's the Scorpio card, it's the King Charles card, but it is the something needs to be done card. This cannot continue. This level of toxicity, of abuse, of strategic timing to overshadow, to undermine, to disrupt, it cannot continue. Cannot. And so that is the underlying energy. And I'm pretty happy to see that as a tarot reader. I think it's time. It's time that everyone woke up to the fact that this has to end. So let's look at the heart of the matter, the situation, the signifier. What is going on? Media wars. Page of Wands, it's all about press, it's all about influence, it's all about who gets their narrative out first. And there she is again, our Megs, influencing, stirring, causing trouble, lighting fires, and their press fires, their little bombshells that she's launching here, there, and everywhere, strategic timing. it's almost like theatre. It's like a movie where explosives are set, go off here, crack, 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 go off there. Those old spaghetti westerns, that kind of very obvious drama and theatre. That's the Page of Wands. That is what's going on, drama and theatre in the world of media, to try and influence you, to try and sway you. We're not looking at how you out there watching this are being influenced and swayed and manipulated. We're going to look at the main players. First of all, Meghan. How crazy is she? How mad is she? How jealous is she? How bitter is she? How angry is she? What is going on with her that she needs to do this? And we got the Four of Wands. That's a celebrating. She's gloating. There's quite a gloating energy in that card. The birthday cake, the blowing out the candles. Quite interesting that she's blowing out candles in that depiction of the Four of Wands. It is normally something to celebrate, and she is celebrating at some level. She's celebrating her power over them, in my opinion, her influence, her ability to disrupt and dismay and to scatter the energy. The Four of Wands is, of course, the royal family, one of the traditional royal family cards for me, the firm. But there she is, blowing out those candles. And I think this Tarot of the Abyss chose itself today, and it really did choose itself to show us that pleasure in blowing out those candles. So how is Harry? How does he feel about this? Some people say he has got no idea that any of this is going on. He's never realized that all this timing was deliberate, didn't notice, wasn't aware, wasn't consulted. Is he in or is he out with this game that is being played, this very toxic, very malicious, very destructive game? He, of course, allegedly offered to help Prince William in the US. So how does he feel about what's going on right now? Surely even he can notice it. And we've got the Five of Swords in reverse. He wants this to stop. I feel quite sad. I feel quite heartsore when I see this card. It's a card of conflict. It's a card of hollow victories. It's a card of fighting for the sake of fighting. Also, mental distress, fighting with yourself about something. And he is wrestling with himself. Does he side with his wife who found his freedom and liberated him from the royal family, or does he stick with his own birth family and where his loyalties were originally and go back to them? He's very conflicted, very. The card is in the reverse, extreme levels of conflict, but also desire to end that conflict, to return to a situation of peace and harmony, which is what follows the fives. The sixes are peace and harmony. The tarot is a narrative always. The cards follow from each other and build on each other. He's not enjoying this. He doesn't want it. I don't think he was really party to the decision making. And if he had his way, he would be suing for peace, waving the white flag, saying, can we please put this behind us and get on with our lives and get back together? My interpretation of the cards, she's the one enjoying this. She's delighting in it. You can see it. He's the one who's traumatized by it, conflicted and confused, even as energy that's coming off that card for me. And so how is this going to affect the Waleses as they are traveling? Well, they're not traveling, they're in Boston, as they're going about their program of events. Is this going to overshadow them? Is it going to disrupt it? Is it going to fall on them and really cause carnage, or are they going to rise above it? How's it going to play for them? And we get the Hermit. It's an interesting card, this, because I see it constantly at the moment. Their only concern is Harry. They don't care about themselves. The Hermit, of course, is a major arcana card for Virgo. It is choosing a wise path, the Hermit. The Hermit retires, retreats, takes time out to contemplate, to seek inner wisdom and to find a path out of the wilderness that they are in. That's what the hermit does. Sometimes consults with experts. It can sometimes be people like mental health professionals, those kinds of people that you go to for advice and treatment. And they may actually be discussing this situation with experts of all kinds, possibly experts who are withdrawn from the public gaze. It could even be intelligence experts, people like that. Just saying, this is the energy that's coming off the card. So they could be consulting with psychologists, they could be consulting with intelligence experts, they could be just essentially and primarily concerned with the well-being of Prince Harry, who is a hermit now, who seemingly has disappeared. Yes, he was there in the Invictus trailer. Yes, he's there in the docuseries, but of course he's there. Filmed whenever, released for maximum damage, collateral damage, and they are concerned about him. Interesting that energy, because it's consistent in the readings that I do on the royals at this point. Right now, of course, very first day of December 2022, they are worried about him. So tell me about the important people, the decision makers in the US, the politicians, the people who decide who's going to be running for office, the people who influence, not in an influencer sense like Meghan Markle wanting to be on Instagram sense, the people who really influence what people out there believe, think, vote for, who they vote for, what they decide. How do those people feel about this very obvious toxic intervention, disruption by the PR coming from Montecito? How do they feel about it? How do they see it? And we get the Ace of Cups. They don't like it. I'm very glad to see it. Lots of things coming to me from this card. First of all, Ace of Cups in reverse is emotions that are out of control. And they see that. It's crazy. It's completely over the top. It's insane, in my opinion. I'm being melodramatic for entertainment purposes. It is over the top emotion and it is out of control. They see that, but they also don't like it. They're not connecting with it. They're not thinking that this is a good idea and this is a good way to start a new path for the Sussexes. They don't think it at all. They find it upsetting. They find it quite disturbing. They find the energy disturbing, and they themselves don't like it. They're family people at heart. Whatever you think and whatever tinfoil hat you want to wear, and I wear a few, I have to confess, whatever you might think about people out there in the world, at heart, everyone has a family. Everyone is connected to people that they love, family, friends, country, and they don't like this. I'm heartened to see that. I really am heartened to see it. I'm also heartened to see this Death card in reverse, because the stagnation, the toxicity, the harm that this is doing, the need for an ending to this is building and building and building. And at some stage, in my opinion, this card is going to swing over and this very toxic energy is going to burst and be removed. We'll read on that. We know down the line in future it has burst. It is over. We're in it now. We're in it now. So take heart. These cards are telling you a story that I think is quite encouraging and quite reassuring. And that's your reading. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.